Hello everyone, welcome to Movie Talk. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite movies of 2022. First of all, I know I am really late to this party because I'm recording this video on the October of 2023. So I know I am really late to making this video. A lot of other YouTubers made, but my channel only started on the July of 2023. Here it says my channel started on the 13th of July. So making the transition from 2022 to 2023, I didn't have my channel, so I didn't share my opinion with you guys. So I want to share with you guys my favorite movies of 2023 because 2022, sorry, because there was a great year for movies, a great year for cinema in general. The Oscars, as we saw, were hyped in some kind of way, and there were two big names in the box office. Well, it's not just two, maybe four or five, but two that are really consistent when we are talking about the great films of 2022. And another thing is, yeah, I know I have this kind of I don't know what to call this, but yeah, just don't notice on that. My top 10 is also on my Letterboxd account, so if you want to skip this video just to see my top 10, I'll leave my Letterboxd account in the description so you can see it. In 10th position, I have Avatar: The Way of Water. So I know that a lot of people dislike this movie just because they say the story is very inconsistent, it has a lot of flaws, and it's a long movie. So to start with, I have to agree in something, that is, the movie is too long. I have to agree on that. When I was watching in the cinema, in the theater, I had an amazing experience, of course, because Avatar, one of the best visual looking movies of all time. The visual effects are stunning, so yeah. The thing is that when I was in the theater, the time duration wasn't that big of a deal, but I went to watch this movie again before the Oscars because I wanted to, and I watched in the TV, and yes, the movie is too long, I have to agree. But then, yes, the movie has a bit of faults, a bit of flaws in the plot, in the script, and it has that villain that is very generic and that kind of stuff. But one argument that people that don't like this movie say is that the movie without the visual effects is really bad. And I agree with that. If it didn't have these visual effects, it would be probably a bad movie. But you can't take one thing off the movie just because it's the best thing. It's a quality of the movie, so you can't take that away from it. In ninth position, Aftersun. This movie was one that a lot of people were talking about because it was the first movie of Charlotte Wells. If I'm not mistaken, that's the... Yes, it's the director, is Charlotte Wells. She was also in the script of the movie. So a lot of people loved this movie because it is very personal. Martin Scorsese once said that the more personal a movie is, the better it will be. And in this movie, that phrase is 100% true. This movie is just about two characters, a father and a daughter, going for a vacation, like I think it's 1 week. And it's a very cute movie, very well made. I can't believe this is the directorial debut of Charlotte Wells. She manages to have some crazy shots, well, crazy shots, not crazy shots, but well made and creative shots that make sense to the story. And the movie is so cute, is really well made, and I loved watching. In 8th position, The Menu. It's a really fun story, really captivating story. The mysteries around the island, around the chef, like, this movie is really fun. I had such a great time watching it. It has these elements of horror, but I don't even think that horror is the main thing that captivates the movie. But I think that it's the thriller, it's the comedy. The comedy is great, and the acting, everyone in this movie is acting at a really great level. The main three characters are Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult, and these three main characters are amazing. I loved the acting, the characters themselves, and the ending is a bit controversial to people, but I like it. In 7th position, The Batman. Watching this movie in the theater was an experience that I want to live again. It's an amazing story about Batman. It's the face of Batman that we never saw in any movie. Christopher Nolan, Tim Burton, no other director, no other story of Batman was interesting, such as this movie. This is the thing where we have seen a lot of Batmans throughout the history of cinema, but none of them were like a detective and this kind of noir stuff. We had the Schumacher's Batman that was really colorful and awful, in my opinion. We had Christopher Nolan's Batman that was a bit more realistic, and we had Tim Burton Batman that was gothic. The Batman of Matt Reeves puts together Christopher Nolan's and Tim Burton's Batman, mixes both of those Batmans, and makes a amazing story. I do believe that this Batman movie live action is top two Batman movies, just behind The Dark Knight. And I think in the sequel that is just coming out in 2024, it's going to be one of the greatest films about in superhero genre. This movie, The Batman, is such a great movie. It has visual quality, sound, like technically this movie is impeccable. The visual effects, the cinematography that wasn't nominated to an Oscar somehow. Even Roger Deakins said that this movie had the best cinematography in all of the year, and it was nominated. But it's an amazing movie. In sixth position, Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick is that kind of movie that you have to experience in the cinema. Like Avatar The Way of Water, like The Batman that I've mentioned in this video. It's a movie that I didn't went to the cinema to watch. Yeah, that's very weird, but what can you do? I watched this movie twice at home, and it was an amazing experience. I can't believe how well it was in the cinema. I can't even imagine how it was on an IMAX theater. Didn't went to watch because, well, I don't really know why. I just missed this movie, but it's a great movie. It has a lot of stuff. It was a Oscar winner in the sound category, which I think it's very deserved. The story itself isn't anything different from other movies, but it's a fun story that has the thing that I don't really like much about this movie is the romance between Tom Cruise's character and that girl and that character that I don't really remember the name, but yeah, great film. In fifth position, The Northman. The Northman is a movie that I was expecting a lot because Roger Eggers is one of my favorite directors, and I was expecting a lot. I went to the cinema to watch this movie, and what an amazing movie, amazing film. I do believe that this is Robert Eggers' worst film. From his filmography, he only has 3 movies: The Witch, Lighthouse, and The Northman. And I think that this guy is going to be one of the greats of all time. He hasn't had time to prove that he is going to be one of the greats, but with only 3 movies and 3 amazing movies, for me, The Witch and The Lighthouse are both 10 out of 10 movies. Maybe The Lighthouse not, but it's my favorite film of Robert Eggers. And this movie is no different. It is a lot different from those 2 movies. I have to say that it's a amazing experience to have in the cinema. The soundtrack of this movie, I still listen to it in my Spotify. It's an unbelievable soundtrack that Robert Eggers made. Well, he wasn't the composer, but you understood me. And I am so frustrated to not see this movie been nominated to the soundtrack category because it's an amazing soundtrack, it's an amazing movie. I recommend it a lot. In fourth position, Nope. If you hadn't heard anything about Nope, I'm gonna say it's a horror movie that went to an IMAX theater. It's really weird to think that a movie of Jordan Peele would go to the IMAX, but it did. I see a lot of people talking badly about Nope. They say it's Jordan Peele's worst movie. I don't think so. I think that Us is the worst movie, but I can see why people don't like Nope because Jordan Peele's first movie was Get Out, and that is 10 out of 10 movie, no questions. No one argues that movie isn't a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect movie. And I can see that it's a bit of a downfall coming from Get Out to Us and Nope. But Nope is still a great experience to have in the theater. I did went to watch this movie in the theater, and I loved the story. I think that this kind of stuff, talking about aliens, I think. I think that this movie makes a perfect analogy with the critical things that Jordan Peele likes to add in in his movies, and it's a great experience. It's a great film. Daniel Kaluuya is such a great actor, as we can see in this movie, and yeah, I absolutely loved it from beginning to end. In the third position, The Banshees of Inisherin. This movie is such a great one. Martin McDonagh is it's a filmmaker that I didn't even heard of before this movie, but after watching it, I wanted to see every single of his movies. It's a really fun story, a lot of comedy. This is generally a comedy movie, and it's a great one. I don't really want to talk about this movie because I don't want to give any spoilers. I think it's a experience that everyone needs to have um, watching this movie because I absolutely loved it. I could say this movie is perfect, but I don't think it is, but I recommend it a lot. In second position, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. So you might be wondering, what the fuck is this movie? And yes, I can answer you. First of all, this movie was released in 2021. It was on festivals for 2021, but it was only released worldwide in 2022. So I have to say, so I am adding this to 2022. And this movie is such a great one. This movie is such a great one. I think this is the most underrated film of 2022. I had no expectations going for this movie, so maybe it's because of that that I found so much of a great movie. But a lot of people haven't watched this movie, and that's something that I know because this movie isn't something that goes around with a lot of marketing and no one talks about. I know, but I think this movie is on Netflix. Maybe yes, maybe not. No, this movie isn't on Netflix. Sorry about that. But if you have an opportunity to watch Marcel the Shell We Choose On, please do it. It's a mockumentary that I loved. It's a really personal movie, as Aftersun is, and please go watch it. It's a really cute story about a shell that talks. That is Marcel. Living in the apartment of a guy that is shooting a documentary about Marcel the Shell we choose on, and it's a really cute story, really fun movie, and for me it's kind of a perfect movie. Like I loved it. On first position, The Fabelmans. So I am a big fan of Steven Spielberg. I have to say that on the first place. I think he is the best director of all time, and he is my favorite director of all time. So, saying that, Fableman's perfect movie. The Fablemans tells the story about Steven Spielberg story, basically. Fablemans is basically Steven Spielberg's story throughout his years of cinema, but really focusing when he was young, when he was a teenager, starting in the film industry. And as I've talked about in Aftersun, the Martin Scorsese phrase that was the most personal movie is the best, and this movie is really intimate into Steven Spielberg's character. It's not Steven Spielberg, it's Sammy Fableman, but it's basically Steven Spielberg. He basically talks about his story, but with other names. This movie is so good. It has these drama scenes, and it has this thing where everyone see how much of a cinema lover Steven Spielberg is, and he transmits that to everyone through in this movie. Like if you watch this movie, there's no way you're coming out of the theater or out of your chair. It depends when you're where you're watching, and you don't have a desire to go film something. You want to make movies after watching this. It's a perfect movie. I think I have to say that this is on my top 3 best Steven Spielberg movie. I know that is a hot take because Steven Spielberg has a lot of 10 out of 10 movies. Has Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, a lot of movies. But I loved this. I loved watching this movie in the theater so much. It gives us a total vibe of the 60s, and it is so personal, so intimate that You gotta love it. It's an amazing movie. I recommend this movie so much. It's a movie that not everyone has seen. This movie costed around $30 million and it made around 30 million, 40 million. So I know a lot of people haven't watched this movie, but it's an amazing as per is a great movie. If you haven't watched, please give it a chance, please. Also, Michelle Williams and Paul Dano are giving a lifetime performance. I don't know how Michelle Williams was nominated to the. Well, I kind of know it was because she should be on the area of actress in a supporting role. If she was in that category, she would have won. But yeah, you can't do much. And this was the video, guys. Again, I know I am late to the party of the best movies of 2022 because we are already ending 2023 basically. I wanted to make this video because I haven't had the chance to make it. So now you have my opinion, and so comment your opinion on the comments below. If you disagree with me, that you probably do because no one has the same top 10. Like there are a lot of movies that I didn't watch in 2022, and there are other movies that I have on this list that you didn't watch. So give your opinions on the comments below. Go watch these movies and form your own opinion, especially the ones that I did recommend. I think I recommended all of the movies that I had on my top 10. I think I recommended all of the movies. Watch all the movies. And this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.